practice principles?
Oh, it is.
Is that what it is?
It should be labeled evaluation something.
Oh wait, practice.
It's
Oh wait, not that
my
one.
syllabus, like, you guys can't find it, it's in the syllabus.
Oh, evaluating group and facilitator effectiveness?
Yeah.
So interesting.
Does everyone have it?
I definitely have it. No,
I know I'm not confused.
I think I found it especially interesting because, like I said before, I was in a therapy group, so I was able to see all the different factors that played into that experience and remember different
Yeah.
personal examples.
Right.
It hits different.
It's different.
It does. I don't know. Sorry, but
No, I always wonder like if I would benefit from something like that.
Yeah.
Doing group therapy.
it was a high school. It was a group that was offered like for a class too, technically, so it was all year, and we focused on achieving academic goals and personal goals, and it was actually a lot of spirituality involved, like in retrospect, which I'll tell you more about another time. But
Yeah.
so let me see. So we're consistent with group purpose. Did you discuss how to use course ideas in your group practice? Give examples.
I think we applied it most for you,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think, we discussed course ideas and maybe like how we interpreted it, which would then be applied one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even like, we were specifically like talking to Marissa, but I think we all like, in a sense, like were able to reflect, you know, so I don't know, I think we did well with that.
Yeah.
Did group members talk about what skills they're trying to get better at? Did they practice these skills?
I don't know if it was openly discussed what skills we're trying to get better at. We were just talking about, like we were talking about before with your group, like why the dynamic might be the way that it is.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll give you ideas of how to change it or how to approach it.
Yeah. I think in my head I was processing that and like thinking about how I could like apply it. And I think that was helpful.
I don't know if, I mean, do you guys think that like we practice these skills or if there's any examples or?
I don't know if we practiced them, like
Yeah.
discussed them, but I don't think there was any like,
Yeah, maybe like
Practice.
before groups we need to like go back over like
Probably go back through the
like
list
the
of
list
work.
that like we all kind of pointed to. Cause I keep like forgetting.
yeah.
Cause I do have goals, but they weren't at the forefront of my mind
Mm-hmm.
for this.
I just feel like sometimes I get so, I wanna make sure like we're achieving what we need to as a group,
Yeah.
that I don't even think about like my own individual identified areas like for growth.
Right.
I just want to stay on topic this time, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's the feedback we've gotten. One thing that like, I don't know if we're like intentionally doing it, but I've noticed that we're not like rushing to fill silence. Like no, like we're sitting with it, even if it's like a few seconds, you know, before like there was no silence. So that was like I remember that being like a skill that we wanted to.
You're right, we did do better with that today.
So.
Engagement. Were we able to stay engaged, actively listening, and contribute to the group discussion throughout the meeting?
There was one time where I was like looking through my notes and I was like, it's lost. Move on.
And I turned around to move on.
That's
Just
what
past
me
it.
too. I was like, I feel like I can find this.
Yeah,
and I was like, wait, I'm
give
not
it
paying
up.
attention to what people are
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I was like, you've made a point.
Yeah.
Go away.
It's easier to type them out and to be able to visually see, because I only had 2 pages of notes
No,
for
literally,
mine.
I was looking through this and I was like, if this were on a laptop, I could just like Control F and like
Control F.
and find the thing, but I was proud of myself for just letting it go.
Did anyone feel like us talking about the active listening, like it brought like more attention? Because I felt the same way. I was like, oh my god, wait, I'm not listening. Like, you know,
I was trying so hard to like stay engaged and stay focused, because it was an interesting conversation, but this is like the first time I really had my notes typed out, and I didn't want like me looking through my notes to distract myself from like being engaged in it. But I almost feel like it helped me because it helped us like stay on track towards what we needed to do.
Or I feel like I brought up in class, like, were you gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry. I feel like I brought up in class, like, it's hard to actively listen when we're trying to refer back to our notes. So I don't know if a way for us to slow down is to like give time to like just recognize if we're all trying to do two things at once and being like, oh, it's okay to do this and then come back and be present, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that's just, because I think we made a big point of like, to actively listen, we need no distractions, and we're like looking at the time or looking at our notes, like it's hard, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we tried the best of our ability to actively listen and stay engaged, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did members work effectively together?
I think so. I mean, I think, like I said, sorry to keep using it as an example, Marissa, but just when we were talking about like your group, it wasn't that we were even, or I was making any suggestions on how to fix it, but just kind of stuff to keep in mind of, oh, maybe that's why like this is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that kind of like helped us connect more. I'm just speaking for myself, but anybody can jump in.
I don't know, like, oh, you know, I'm looking at, sorry, I'm rereading, I have the old version of the question, I'm looking at did we challenge each other, I was like, I don't think we did that, never mind,
Yeah.
skip me.
It's the cohesiveness one, like did we work effectively with each other, and was the work focused on ideas from the course and how to use them in group practice, which I think yes, personally.
think, yeah.
much more yes. I think we did better with that.
Did group members do things skillful leaders do? Give examples. I always find this question really challenging. Like I never know.
I know, like
How to
trying to play
answer.
back on my brain.
I mean, I don't know, I just feel like, when I think of skillful leaders, I look to the facilitator and like, they're skillful, they can facilitate and not lead and like dominate the conversation, so that's how I measure it. And I feel like we're pretty collaborative and like share the power in that sense. But I don't know if you guys look at it differently.
No, I feel the same way. Like we talked about before, I feel like sometimes I almost forget who the leader is.
Mhm.
And that could be both a good and a bad thing, I don't know, but I feel like we all kind of contribute in our own way. There's no one person that's in charge.
Did members challenge each other? Sensitively challenge each other? I think so. Like, I think even when you were like asking questions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To Marissa.
Mhm. You made me think. I feel like maybe that's a better way.
Yeah.
Like not challenge, but like to challenge someone is to just like make them think about
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You know?
I wasn't trying to like challenge you like to
No,
be,
no,
like,
I think
you
it was
know.
good that like you did
Yeah.
that, but I'm just trying to think of like ways to reword it. Like I don't know, some of his wording, I feel like I get a little. I'm like, there's a better way to say. There's a different way to say this and get the point across.
Wait, can I ask, like, when did you feel challenged? Because I think I might have missed that then. Or if you wanted to chime in, I don't know.
I feel like I felt challenged when Mary asked me a question. I think you asked me a question about what I was saying too, and I feel like the way you like pose the questions kind of made me think about my group that I run like differently than I was like, oh, I wonder why. Like I never really thought about why the group wasn't cohesive,
Yeah.
you know. So it kind of challenged my idea of that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Again, I feel like that's more brainstorming too. I don't know.
Well, that's what I don't think the word challenge.
I didn't know if you meant like I was trying to like
No, I don't
conflict
think
with you. That's
no,
why I
yeah.
was confused. I was like, wait, when did this happen?
Conflict?
What is this? I feel like in the beginning when you were talking about, or it was either you or Sam, like somebody talked about like the part of like the family unit like not being relevant. I don't know if that, that might have been you honestly.
think
It was
Sam
in the
and I both
beginning.
were like-
You guys both did, yeah. And I said like I don't know if I agree with that necessarily.
I forgot which question we're on.
Inquiry.
7.
Did people ask each other questions to get more depth in the work? Give examples. I like that question about the age
Mhm.
that you brought up.
Yeah.
it was something I hadn't thought about.
It's like all I don't know, and I don't know if it's because I'm working with middle schoolers and then like my actual job I'm working with adults, so and I see the difference there that I'm like it's just like always a thought. And I'm like curious if other people are, you know, thinking the same.
I just like when we're able to bring concepts from other classes into this class. I think, like, cause it's a social work class, any way that we could bring like culture into it or just like different demographics, I always really appreciate.
Definitely.
I think we definitely asked each other questions about like different theories or kind of theorizing. We did a lot more of that.
Did group members learn something new about group practice, group skills, group dynamics? Did they learn about why some things are hard for them to do in groups? Give examples.
Actually, yes. Well, again, like we were talking. I'm so sorry. Can you see these examples? Well, just with like the group dynamic, like why the group dynamic is the way that it is, and the age could affect it, or like make it hard to kind of take that control or have them see you seriously as a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why it would be uncomfortable to like feel like a motherly role
Yeah.
in the group as well.
Did people challenge pre-existing ideas about doing groups? Did they attempt skills that are hard for them to do? Did members experience disequilibration? Give examples.
I just think this topic gave me the most insight, maybe as to like why groups are cohesive and why they're not cohesive. And again, just theorizing. So that is like a pre-existing content that I didn't have before.
Did anybody experience the disequilibration? I don't know if I did or not.
I don't think I did.
When I think of that word, I think of like earth shattering.
Me too.
So
Me too.
I would be surprised if like
I don't know if it like necessarily means earth shattering necessarily, or just kind of like going outside of your comfort zone, like that little bit of like imbalance in that way, or the feeling of it.
I guess I kind of felt that way when we were talking about me running the groups at the senior center, just because like I feel like I don't question like how I'm doing, and maybe I should, and then it made me realize maybe I should be questioning more how this is going, and that was like a little disequilibrating for me.
Well, it's hard like what you're doing too. Like I said, you're working with older people, so it's hard to have them take you seriously in that role if you're so much younger than them and you can't relate to them in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So don't be too hard on yourself.
Thank you.
Just say empathy. Process work. Did the group talk about what was happening in the group? Give examples. Like, did we talk about our own dynamic in that moment? You mean?
Yeah.
Is that what it's asking?
I think so.
You think we did?
I think the
No.
I thought you were
think that's
too.
what it's being
Okay.
being asked.
Okay, it was just.
I don't think that we got very like meta.
We kind of did at one point. We were saying when we were talking about like how groups normally have like a motherly figure and a fatherly figure. We were like, oh, well, we're all women, so.
Oh, that's a good point. Very good point.
yeah. I think this is like an area I want to grow in though.
Yeah.
Like reflecting in real time.
Like pointing out the dynamic as it's taking place.
I think like sometimes like I stop observing because I'm like, oh, well, like we're continuing the conversation, and that would mean interrupting this and being like, I noticed that we're all talking about it.
Yeah.
I noticed that there was an awkward silence.
Yeah,
You know.
good job, move on.
Okay, evaluation. I think this is the last one. Were group members able to be honest during the evaluation conversation? Did anybody lie?
Any liars in the group?
I thought we were honest. I think there were times where like when you guys were like, oh, we did challenge each other, I was like, we did, but once you explained it, it made sense. So.
Yeah.
Right? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Good job, group.
Nice job.
That's what we got today.
Yep.